Okay, so we're looking at segments 16 through 20.
16 through 20.
This is like big open country, cattle country, easy travel. It's, there's rolling, it's fairly flat, you're in and out of the woods, you're exposed.
Yes.
The hardest part is it's really not easily accessible. There's just a lot of Forest Service roads. So, it might be a better idea to just say, hey, I'm going to do all of 16 through 20. But if you only want to do one segment, that is possible. You're just going to need a CT shuttler, local, that is knowledgeable of these roads and the areas, because it's kind of remote. But it's doable. You can do it segment by segment if you really want to. If you can find the ride,
it gets more difficult.
You can do it,
especially you're getting to the second. You're in the second half of the trail, so I think that makes.
And then these maps.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Trails Illustrated National Geographic maps are really great for this. And if you're gonna hike this area, these are great maps to have on top of any apps you have, because you can do loop hikes in this area. Let's say you just wanted to do 16 or 17 or whatever. There are other trails in the area, and in some cases that's how you're going to get to the CT anyway.
Right.
And you'll see as we get into this, you can just go out there and do a loop hike. So, maybe you have your own car or somebody did drop you off. But there's a lot of options here. So we'll get into that, get into the details. But just know this is going to be a semi-remote area, mixed land, rolling, prairie, woods, cattle. It's easy travel, so you could blaze through this area. Granted, this is for 2022. This is the current latest news that we're getting for anybody who's starting the trail. We're at June 30th. We've already had several people start the trail. We've already had several send-offs, and more coming. So a lot of people coming right now. It's really fun. I'm seeing a lot of people at the airport.
Right. I think you start getting into July.
So we're, I'm trying. When I see them at the airport, I try to go, hey, you guys hiking the Colorado Trail? Introduce ourselves. If you see us, say hi. It's great to see the hikers out there and the excitement. It's really fun. But for 2022, currently, we're looking at a few noteworthy pieces of information here. We're using the Mustang bus a lot in this series, and currently 50% off.
Starting July, right?
Starting July 1st, so probably for the summer.
I think it was through September 15th, I thought.
Yeah,
something in there.
It'll cover you for the CT hike.
Mm-hmm.
50% off of already decent prices.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. I'm not sure what the code was. You go on Mustang's website, it has the code, use this code when you get your tickets. So use the app, it's so easy. RTD, so the train from Denver Airport to downtown, or points south of that, say Littleton Park and Ride, or the AT bus that we like to recommend people use to Greenwood Village, in August, free.
Oh, it's free.
Free. RTD is free in the month of August.
Wow.
So if you're a late traveler to the Colorado Trail, RTD, the train, and the buses are all going to be free.
The whole system's
so
free.
That's going to be a good one.
Interesting.
And you just got this info. Lake City Shuttle is now running again.
It's running again. I think it was July.
July 1st.
July 1st.
So July 1st, and what is that?
Maybe that was mid-September. Maybe I'm confusing Mustang.
No, that's July.
No, what I mean is it runs through.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know which one.
It's
running
limited,
through
but
yeah.
every day through, a certain amount of time.
I could look it up again. I have it.
And I believe they leave Lake City in the middle there, kind of like where we stayed at the Town Square cabins in the park right there in the city center. Lake City's not big. You can't get lost. They pick up there and at 12 o'clock every day, and then they're at the trailhead by say 12:30, and I believe the return trip back to Lake City is going to be 12:30. So make sure you're there at those times. And remember, this is not necessarily a bus. These are volunteers in their own cars.
Right.
So sometimes they don't have a lot of room, and they can get somebody else to come and help. They've done that before, but these are people that are volunteering of their own time in their own cars with their own gas. Give them a donation.
And this one is through mid-September, so I'm not sure the bus thing. I might be confusing this with the bus thing, so I don't know how long that sale runs.
Bus thing, it's about the same.
About the same,
It's
okay.
it's basically
Okay.
the summer.
So it is July 1st through mid-September, so you can get that ride with the Lake City Shuttle.
Waterton Canyon, segment 1, Colorado Trail, the big start.
Yeah.
Everybody was really worried about the closure. I just looked at the website this morning, and they are saying it should be open today.
Okay.
You know, take that with a grain of salt, but usually Waterton Canyon's pretty right on with what they tell you. So I'm saying they're going to be open today, which is good. A lot of people are like, well, you know, do I go Indian Trailhead? Do I go Roxborough? You know, and they're like, I really want to be a purist and start with Waterton Canyon.
Yeah.
And I was telling somebody the other day, met at the airport, you know, because they were concerned about this. And, you know, it's like all 3 of these starts are unique to their own. Not one of them's better than the other.
They're all different, yeah.
You know, Waterton Canyon is a canyon walk. You know, you have the bighorn sheep and all that, and you have water for 6.5 miles. But Indian Trailhead, you know, that's a single track right away. You feel like you're on a trail right off the bat. And then Roxborough, you know, that's what is the park down in the Springs?
Oh, Garden of the Gods?
Garden of the Gods. You
Yes.
know, it's so unique and pretty with the big rock formations and everything. That's kind of what Roxborough is.
Yeah, it's unique. Yeah.
The only thing I'd say about Roxborough is you have that initial climb right off the bat,
Right. You
because
don't
you're going up to Carpenter Peak.
forget how far. I mean,
It's not far,
It's
but
not a
it,
big
you know,
distance, but it's a climb.
If
It
that's
is a
the
climb.
first thing you have to do when you're
Yes.
coming from out of state and you got to climb right away, it could be tough.
yes.
You're full
it could be.
pack.
Mhm.
You're getting used to the altitude, so
Yeah.
you know that's the hard part about Roxborough. But weather-wise, the monsoons are here. We had a doozy of a little thunderstorm last night, so we're getting fluctuations of moisture and thunderstorms moving up from the south to the north. It's been more so in the south lately, but it seems to funnel up across the border of Colorado in the south, and then it looks for the Continental Divide, and it just seems to follow that path northward. So if you're on trail, keep your eyes, keep your ears skyward. These storms are fast and furious. They mean business. They can dump a lot of water. They're embedded with pea-sized hail, and most importantly, a lot of lightning.
Right. Yeah.
Be careful. And I looked at the weather this morning. I like to use Leadville because Leadville is 10,500 feet, and that's kind of an average for the Colorado Trail in a lot of these areas. Their temperatures for the next week, highs in the 60s, lows in the 30s. So if you're above 10.5 for the next
gonna be
week on the
cold.
Colorado Trail, you're gonna have some cold nights. I wouldn't rule out snow.
You think snow?
I would not rule out snow, especially the closer you get to 11,000 and above. I really would not rule out some dustings.
No, it was cold when we wake up and put on our puffies, and it was
yeah,
cold in the mornings, and our
definitely.
gloves. It was chilly.
We had frost, a little ice here and there, but you know, if there's any rain at all overnight, it could be snow. Just be wary. Most likely the higher peaks of 12,000 and above, but it's Colorado, it's mountain weather. You could get it all.
I'm just noticing you have no dog fur on you, and I'm covered in dog fur.
That's because the dogs like you better.
I mean, I'm covered in dog fur from head to toe.
We're dog lovers.
Yes.
All you need is love and a dog.
This is true.
So, but you have enough dog fur to make a dog.
I do.
I don't.
Well,
I have enough beard.
that's true.
There we go. So, all right, there's your news for 2022, early in the season, June, July. Let's do it. let's get into the next segment. Segment 16. Here we come. We're still using Salida here, but you're starting to reach the limitations of using Salida. So for now, to get to 16, here we go. Back at the airport. You're gonna take the train from the concourses or walk the People Bridge, get over to the main terminal, pick up your luggage, which should be a backpack. We're gonna get on the A line to downtown Denver Union Station. How much does that cost?
$10.50.
And free in August. Woohoo! Once at Union Station, you're going downstairs to the Mustang bus, the Outrider Crested Butte bus to Salida, $29.
But it's half off.
50% off. So $15. $14.50. Okay. Yeah. And from the Mustang bus in Salida, if you wanted to shave an extra 5 miles off to get a little closer to the trail, I don't think it would really help you. But it might, depending on where your ride's coming from or if you're hitching. You can take another bus from Salida to Ponca Springs for $1 more.
Oh.
It's only 5 miles.
Okay.
And if you use the 50% off, it's 50 cents. Have a couple quarters on you. Right?
Right.
Bear canister, you need a quarter. Don't lose that quarter.
Yeah, don't spend that.
But yeah, Ponca Springs, Salida, they're right there, right next to each other. But you're gonna need a ride. So in a lot of these upcoming segments, I really would stick with a CT shuttler for sure, because you're going to be going off the main roads onto 4 service roads, and this is where your local driver is really going to be important, because they probably know these roads really well. Your 18 miles from Ponca Springs, 23 miles from Salida to get to the trailhead, you know, the CT shuttler is going to be your ace in the hole here. You probably could hitch. The road that goes out to the trailhead, it's long. It's like 16 miles or something. It's a dirt road. It's a Forest Service road. It's kind of windy, a little up and down, nothing major. It's rocky, it's ruddy, but any car could do it. It's not like a 4-wheel drive road. It's just long, dusty, dirty, and rocky. There are a lot of people heading to the trailhead, and there are a lot of people that are doing dispersed camping along this whole road. So it's not like you're out in the middle of nowhere by yourself until you get to the trailhead. Once you get to the trailhead, there's a lot of people there too.
There were.
So, and even camping. There's people that are dispersed camping in that area of the trailhead. So, you know, even once you get to the trailhead and you walk within the next half a mile, you're still going to see a lot of activity in the area. There's some dirt bike people, there's some backcountry hikers, there's day hikers, there's CT hikers, thru hikers,
right.
dispersed camping. We even saw the one guy target practice.
Yeah.
Freaked the dogs out completely. It was kind of obnoxious, but you know, he has the right to do that.
Right.
So just be wary. It's kind of a busy area.
It's a little busy, yeah.
You know, you wouldn't think so, but it was.
Right.
But you know, getting out there, it's kind of a fun area. You feel like you're gone.
It took us a bit to get down the road.
Just to get there, but the hike itself is really pretty. There's kind of a slope off to the left of the trail as you're hiking, and you have the mountains, Mount Kiamir or something like that. There was several out there. I could look into.
I think we set up with a nice view.
Oh yeah, we had a great view. There was a one camp spot, just a beautiful area.
Yeah.
You got Windy Peak. Yeah, there's quite a few places in this area that are. It's just really pretty. I think in Tora Peak is out that way. But it's really pretty, and it's kind of mixed woods and open. but it was relaxing. A really enjoyable segment for sure. Kind of a rocky trail though. A lot of rock on this trail.
It gets at the
Yeah.
later part.
Yeah,
It's much
but-
more so.
Anyway, that's segment 16. Definitely doable. Long dirt road to get to the trailhead, but a lot of people, so a hitch, a CT shuttler shouldn't be a problem. Moving on and away from Salida. Yeah, we're getting deeper into it now. So segment 17 coming up. Okay, segment 17. Now we're thinking outside the box.
Yes.
We're getting deeper into it. One thing is you can still use Salida a little further,
Can you?
but Gunnison is now coming into play. And the next few segments, Gunnison is going to be the key player if you want to start in these areas. Gunnison is 39 miles from most trailheads,
Yeah, it's a distance.
or in some cases it's 39 miles to where you get off the pavement. And then you're looking to get on these Forest Service roads, and you could go upwards of 10 to 15 miles in on Forest Service roads. So we're starting to think outside the box here.
Technically, at the beginning of 17 is what you're referring to. Yeah.
And I'll go back to this map.
Right.
This is the Trails Illustrated map, number 139. This map is really important if you want to hike this area to any length. It really has a lot of things on there that could help you out if you needed to move around, get off the trail, or find an alternate to wherever you're at to another place. It's just got a lot of good detailed information on it. But we're going. You can go to Salida, and that's the A-line train from Denver Airport. Busting Outrider bus that goes all the way to Crested Butte, but you'll get off in Salida at $29, or continue to Gunnison, $40. So the price is increasing.
But that's before the 50%?
But you can use 50% off, so
that was for
chop
August,
those in
though,
half,
or was
15 and 20.
Okay, was that August?
It runs through August.
Oh, it runs through-
It's now, July 1st.
That's right, July 1st, okay.
So,
August was RTD.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, get to Salida or Gunnison, that's the easy part.
Okay.
Just getting there is the easy part. And alternatively, now that we're talking about Gunnison, you can fly into Gunnison through Denver Airport. So I looked at the schedule, and in the summertime, United is the only airline using Gunnison, and it's regional aircraft, the smaller RJs. Not a long flight by any stretch. So from Denver Airport, you can get to Gunnison on an aircraft on United Airlines. So, I don't know the prices there. You'd have to look that up yourself. But that's another alternate. But once you're in Salida or Gunnison, and leaning towards Gunnison now, because it's just going to be the place you're going to use. Now you have to get a ride. And we know there are people out at these trailheads. We got a ride from the trailhead into Gunnison, 39 miles to do our resupply, thankfully. And there was a thunderstorm, and it was just a bad, rainy, cold day. Even when we got to Gunnison, the storms just kept coming. So we were really happy that we were able to get a ride and get there, because it was a bad night.
Now, I've heard people say that I think we got lucky that they have stood waiting for a ride from the trailhead to Gunnison a couple hours.
Well, it's Highway 114 is it's like no man's land. It's a 2-lane highway kind of in the middle of nowhere. And that's what these segments are like. You're in the middle of nowhere. You're getting to Sargent's Mesa.
Right.
There's nothing out there. You're surrounded by state highways on all 4 sides, but in the middle of all these highways, it's just open country, and it's tough. you know, but I mean, it's still doable. We have all the information here. You can do it. Again, it might be more feasible to just keep moving through and do these segments as a, you know, like 2 or 3 segments at a time, 4 segments at a time, just because it's easy travel.
Right.
There's not a lot of climbing here, so you can make good time at big miles in this area. But here we go. DIA, A-line to downtown, Outrider Mustang bus to Gunnison or Salida, and then you're going to have to find a ride to the Long Branch Trailhead, which is Highway 50, and then you're going to be looking, it's Forest Service Road 780, which is going to be about 4 miles long, down to the Long Branch Trailhead. And there you're looking for a fir. There it is again. It's a fir.
Looking
for Long Branch Trail 489 to the Colorado Trail segment 17 at mile 2.4.
So you have to come in.
So you're
2.5 miles.
you're 2.5 miles in on 17. If you're a purist, you could go back and come back, and that's, you know, you're adding some mileage there.
Bit, yeah.
But the Long Branch Trail 489 to the CT is about 5.7 miles. So add that in as well. You can alternatively start at the Big Bend Creek Trail, which is trail number 488, which takes you over to the CT segment 16, mile 14.7. So right at the end of segment 16.
Okay.
And that Big Bend Creek Trail is 6.3 miles. So we're getting creative here.
Yeah, this is
Not, you know, you're getting a ride out of Salida or Gunnison. You're getting to a dirt road. You're traveling on a dirt road. You're getting to these outlying trailheads, and now you're taking trails to get to the trail. You know, you're having to be creative. You did come for an adventure, right?
Right.
So you might as well see a little more of Colorado. These are just woodsy, in and out of the trees, rocky trails, probably dirt bikes,
Right.
day hikers, you know, but this is a way to get to the Colorado Trail or get off the Colorado Trail. It's all doable. You're still going to see people out there. So you can get to and from Gunnison or Salida. Just a little more creative now.
Yeah.
You're really getting out there. But we're thinking outside the box, and we're looking for alternates here. So it is doable. There are ways to do this. I guess maybe you could also get a helicopter.
Oh, sure. That
And
work.
if you don't mind spending $10,000 to rent a helicopter, that's also doable.
Great view.
Great view, you know. So anyway, let's keep moving on. Segment 18 coming up. Okay, segment 18, and this one's going to be the easiest of all of these because it is a paved road. It's Highway 114. So Gunnison is going to be your best bet. You're going to get to Gunnison, you take Highway 50, you get to Highway 114, and then you're traveling on Highway 114 to the trailhead, so all pavement. Easier, but, you know, like you said before, people could stand on Highway 114 and wait for a ride.
That's what I've heard anyway, yeah.
We got really lucky.
We did.
We just happened to see some hikers that were flip-flopping their vehicles.
We're doing segments.
They're segment hiking, and they were going back to Gunnison, and we
Yes.
just happened to see them. So that really worked out well for us, especially because of the weather. Oh, man, was it bad. And I think this is probably one of the worst weather days we had on our hike. It was just bad, and the temperatures dropped, You know, you get that pea-sized hail, a lot of lightning, and then driving windy rain. And it's cold rain in Colorado. The rain in Colorado is not warm. Even on a 100-degree day,
It's cold.
it'll drop 20 degrees like no tomorrow, and it's cold rain, sometimes mixed with hail. So getting to segment 18, not a problem. It's a 40-mile drive.
I didn't look this year. There was a person that was a shuttler.
Right.
You'd have to contact him in advance.
This is a teacher?
It was the teacher, so
Yeah.
he goes. He's teaching again, mid-August or whenever school starts. But I don't recall if he charged or not. But I know we were going to give him money regardless.
40 miles.
40 miles, yeah. He may,
especially
I don't
with the
recall.
gas prices now,
Right,
you got to give a donation.
But we ultimately didn't have to. We got a ride, but
Right.
we were going to.
But people's schedules are busy.
Right.
These people have lives, so you're at the mercy of their schedule, and it is what it is. So yes, we're getting to Gunnison. The A-line train from the airport to Denver Union Station. You're looking for the Mustang bus that goes all the way to Crested Butte, but you're getting off in Gunnison, $40. And then you're going to need the CT shuttler, or it is possible to hitch. It could be 2 hitches, it could be 1 hitch. This is a well-traveled area leaving Gunnison. 114, when we were out there and we were looking at that highway, there wasn't a lot of cars. It was midweek, and it was kind of like, I think it was around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But not a lot of vehicular traffic.
No.
If you went through there on a weekend, I bet you there'd be a lot. But yeah, it's just a patient trailhead. If you want to get off the trail and get to Gunnison, patience. People do come and go from that trailhead, though.
But I find people, as we were talking about this, many just go through. If you're hiking through,
Yeah.
they don't even try to go into Gunnison because it is a
it's
little
39
more challenging.
miles. So
And we toyed with the idea of continuing on.
we did. We had to pitch our tent because of a thunderstorm, and we sat in the tent, and we were a mess.
And we thought about it. For some reason, we didn't find a ride in. We had enough food. We thought
We
keep going.
thought we could ration and probably do it.
Yeah. But just throwing that out there.
But
Different.
you have plans, and you have to be able to adapt to your
Right,
situation.
you can be flexible.
We sat in that tent during a thunderstorm, wet, messy, and hungry, and just, okay, what do you want to do?
Yeah, we thought about it.
And then we got over to 114, and we looked left, we looked right, we didn't see a car. We walked, down the highway a little bit to segment 18, where that starts in the parking lot there, in the little kind of pull-off area. And that's when we got lucky and saw the flip-floppers.
Yeah.
And they approached us.
Right. Hey.
They must have felt sorry for us because we were looking kind of pathetic after that storm.
Yeah.
But it is doable to get on and off at this point. After this, it's going to get more difficult into segment 19 and beyond. So that's segment 18, the easiest out of all of these, I believe, just with a little patience.
Yeah.
Okay, segment 19.
Yes, 19.
Now the easy stuff is over, and we're getting remote. We're getting into cattle country. Easy travel, can be exposed, can be muddy. The trails are not as rocky, softer, single track. But cattle country, some of it was like these Forest Service roads, and the trail kind of blend at times. You're on and off roads. Pay attention to the signs in this area.
Right, yeah.
Have your app with you, like gut hooks or Far Out, I think it's called Far Out now. Just be constantly aware of the trail and where you're at in some of these areas, because they use some of these Forest Service roads a lot. So you'll be on and off roads, back on a single track, back on a road. But here we are, segment 19. Gonna use Gunnison. It's just the best option. So you can take the bus to Gunnison, the Mustang from Union Station, or you can once again fly into Gunnison. So it's it's not hard to get to Gunnison. It's just once you do get to Gunnison.
How do you get to the trailhead?
We're looking at a remote trailhead here, about 45 miles from Gunnison. So 39 miles of that is pavement, and then after that you're on Highway 50 leaving Gunnison. Then you're on Highway 114 for about 30-ish miles, and you're looking for these Forest Service roads. You're going to head south off the road. So, you're looking for Colorado Road 17 GG. and when there's letters and numbers combined, that these are remote Forest Service roads. I don't think they're four-wheel drive by any stretch. They're just rocky, dirt, rutted roads that are out in the middle of this cattle country. Highway 50, Highway 114, and then County Road 17 GG, heading south for 5.25 miles. Then you're looking for County Road NN14, and you do that for 1 mile, and then you're looking for Road 17FF for almost 4 miles to the intersection of Forest Service Road 787 and 17FF, and that's where segment 19 begins. Out in the middle of no man's land. A CT shuttler is definitely your best bet here.
Ooh, that's a challenging.
Yeah. If you look on a map, it makes a lot of sense. If you're talking about it, it sounds like a science project, and you quickly go, "Excuse me, what?"
So if you have all the numbers, all the roads
noted,
then you can look it up on a map.
All of this is on our blog, madhippieslife.com, Airport to the Alpine. We're putting all these segments on here, so if you want the numbers, they're all going to be there. It is all on a map, and it does make sense when you're looking at it. But to talk about it, no, you quickly just go, that one's over my head. I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, segment 20. I guess kind of a recap. In 19, we had the Cochetopa Creek, so there's lots of water. You're coming out of cattle country in 19, and you feel like you're really getting back into it. You've passed through all the flat cattle country area. I thought that was really fun. About the end of 19, you just felt like you were getting back into things, and then obviously 20 throws you back in. You're getting back to more of a mountainy feel instead of the flat cattle country rolling stuff.
And after we crossed the creek.
Yeah, we crossed the creek.
We set up the tent.
Had a great lunch.
But at lunch, we just relaxed. Let things dry. Our things were wet from crossing the creek. We just relaxed for a bit.
And that's where the bridge was out too. I don't know if they fixed it yet, but the bridge across Cochetopa Creek was out, so we had to wade through it.
Right, there was no.
And it earlier in the season, a lot of people had talked about how swift and high the water was, and we were kind of nervous. And we got there and it wasn't that deep, but it's interesting. It was probably shin deep, but you could still feel that water.
It's amazing.
It was moving.
The force of the water.
Yeah, it was moving good. Be careful when you go across there, and watch your footing.
Right.
But even when it's not that deep, it moves your legs.
It does.
So you have to be careful and mindful of where you're putting your feet, and walk with meaning.
Poles.
Use your poles. Just know where you're putting your foot, and make sure you're got your legs strong underneath you, because that water was moving even if it's shin deep. But yeah, at the end of 19, that last part, that was it was neat. And then we, like you said, we crossed the creek, we had a lunch. You just feel like you're transitioning again. It's time to get back to the mountains. It's time to get back to a different feel on the trail. And that's where 20 really kicks in.
Yes.
Because you're at the Eddiesville trailhead. And it's a neat place. I think you had talked to the couple.
Right, you had mentioned that there were cars there. There's a bathroom
Right,
there.
there's a bathroom, and there were cars and people.
Cars. And the people that we had met that took us into Gunnison.
So that was at Highway 114.
Right, they had parked at Eddiesville Trailhead and also at the trailhead before 18.
Right.
And I guess they had gone from 18 through 19. They did San Luis Peak, and then they got into their car.
So they're probably using a lot of these Forest Service roads to move around.
They did,
and they just had your typical standard cars.
But I'm pretty sure that if I remember correctly, they had parked at Eddiesville, and they were just going all around.
And that's kind of telling of the roads themselves, because I think one of their cars was a standard SUV off the lot, nothing major, street tires.
Right.
And I think the other car was just a regular car.
Was it a Subaru maybe? I don't even know.
Maybe a Subaru,
I don't remember.
But these are just Forest Service roads. Most cars can do them.
Right.
And even this trailhead, there's a bathroom. There were people. It's not so remote that you feel like you need a Jeep or something. But the feel, we're getting back to more of a wilderness feel and away from the cattle country. But here we are, segment 20, Gunnison. It's really the only option. You can fly or take a bus to Gunnison. So you leave the airport, 1050 A-Line Trail to Union Station, looking for the Mustang bus that goes to Gunnison, and that's $40, but $20 because of the 50% off right now. And once you get to Gunnison, CT Shuttler, maybe you could hitch, but that's only so far. I don't think you're hitching on these dirt roads. I wouldn't say you're not going to. It is possible, but I would go with a CT Shuttler for sure out of Gunnison. And that's going to get you to a remote trailhead. We're talking probably 56, 57 miles from Gunnison.
Wow.
So this is a CT Shuttler that you're going to be indebted to.
Yeah.
I mean, they're taking their time to get you to and from these trailheads. Thank them profusely, and definitely donate to the gas fund.
And that, as you were saying earlier, and this might be one of those things, but if you're planning, you have time, it might be better to start at 18 and just goes all the way through, or vice versa.
These areas, like the couple, they're flip-flopping with their own vehicles.
Right, they had two vehicles and they were parked at one end.
In this area, yes, based on what we're trying to do, get you to and from trailheads, it is definitely doable. It is possible. You're going to have to be patient. It's going to take you time. But yes, you can get to and from these trailheads. But ultimately, our recommendation, just through hike these 4 or 5 segments, because it is difficult and they are remote trailheads. But not out of the question to get a ride. Just more patience, persistence, and creative thought. So leaving Gunnison, Highway 50 to Highway 114 for about 28 and a half miles. You're looking for County Road 14NN, south for 7 miles to County Road 15GG, and then south for 4 miles, continuing straight on County Road 14DD for 17 miles to the trailhead. A CT Shuttler with knowledge of these roads is definitely your best bet.
I don't know if there's anyone on a Shuttler list though that would.
I would contact people in Gunnison, because I'm sure they've been out there. You live in the area, most likely you've traveled these roads.
And whether or not anyone on the Shuttler's list goes that far, they might know someone who is willing to.
Yeah, they might not, but they might know somebody who does. I have left a few emails and phone calls with some of the backcountry people, outfitters, and whatnot in the area. Still haven't got back to us. Kind of hoping that maybe they know or provide a service, and it's probably going to cost you money though.
Yeah.
Anytime you go with a company like that.
Right.
But
it's an option.
it is an option, and hopefully we can update this with some more information. But for now, CT shuttler.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't rule out completely a hitch, but I think that would be a little more difficult.
Yeah, definitely.
Uber's going to be like, you want me to drive off the pavement? No.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of be the way it is. But, it's going to be using that Mustang service.
And I think Uber's become more difficult. We discussed that a little bit when we were hiking it, and it becomes more difficult away from major cities.
But, when you take the train to downtown Denver, maybe we need to recap that when it comes to the bus service, the Mustang. There are various Mustang buses. You should get the app. You really should. And the app is really easy to use, and it will tell you schedules, routes, and where you need to go, maps, timetables, the whole ball of wax, which bus you're looking for, because the Mustang service has a lot of different routes, and they go all over the mountains of Colorado. So get on there and look for the route that you need. Make sure you find that specific route. I mean, it wouldn't be good to get on a bus and wind up in Aspen when you need to go south to, say, Gunnison.
True.
But just get that app. It's really helpful. The website's really helpful, but just having that app, even with RTD's app, get all the apps that really work with all this stuff, even the free buses in Frisco. To have these apps is a valuable tool in your hand. You can pay for them. You can see the routes, the times, everything.
Pay for them. You pay for the tickets.
If you're taking RTD or the Mustang, you can pay for it on your phone. You don't have to look for a counter, go find a person or a kiosk.
Yeah.
It's right here in your hand, and it's a lot easier to do it that way. That way you have all the information with you always. But that's through segment 20, and segment 20 is cool. You're talking San Luis Pass. You're talking up and over the shoulder of San Luis Peak. Mm-hmm. And as a side trail, San Luis Peak's a 14er on trail, not that far. You could easily peak, do the peak bagging thing and do San Luis Peak. There is a loop trail in this area. If you just wanted to do segment 20 or some of it, there's a big loop you can take in this area, which is really cool. I think it's Stewart Creek is on the other side. So you have segment 20 of the Colorado Trail, you go up and over San Luis Peak, drop down onto the other side, and I think it's Stewart Creek back to the trailhead. A lot of neat things you can do in this area. But this started a lot of climbing for us.
They did, yeah.
We camped with some of our tramley in this area, which was always fun. They were always looking out for us. They always were like, hey guys, we got camp. Yeah. Come on in, we got room for you guys. So it was always cool to see our tramley, and the younger guys, they were taking care of us. We felt nice. We felt pretty good about that. That was nice to be looked after like that. But yeah, lots of climbing. Yeah. Segment 20 was climb. Segment 21 coming up is a climb. I remember towards the end of segment 20, you get to what is considered San Luis Pass. And you can get to Crete from there. We'll look at that in the next series. But I remember, right at the end, we did a lot of climbing, and then we dropped down, and we're looking at segment 21 in front of us, and I'm like, oh my God, we have a huge climb in front of us. But we have to do it because we're setting up for 21 and getting into Lake City.
Yeah, the shuttle.
But we'll get into that
Yeah.
on the next series. But yeah, this is a really cool part of the trail.
Yeah.
This is where things really get exciting for us. 20, even 19, all the way through 27, Taylor Lake. What an exciting time on the Colorado Trail.
And Slide Rock, I was really...
Slide Rock,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I
wanted
mean,
to see that.
all the way through
Yeah.
these areas. This is the part of the Colorado Trail that really got us excited. We couldn't wait to get there, but those are the segments coming up in the next series. So here we have 16 through 20. Creative, interesting,
Definitely more challenging.
but doable. You can do it. Like we said, our recommendation, it'd probably be best to just segment hike all of these at the same time, because it's easy, fast travel.
It is.
Interesting travel, but doable. You can get on and off. Just patience and creativity, and you can do it.